Okay. Okay. Hey, what's up, y'all? And we're back with another 2025 college football preview and prediction. And up today, we do have the Clemson Tigers, and of course, I am joined by a Clemson man, Pigskin Pete. What's up, Pete?
What's up, Victor? How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for joining me.
Sure.
We can do this share screen. Okay, there we go. Of course, we'll start out by recapping last year. Of
Do we
course, y'all
have
did
to?
start out. Yeah, we have to.
Okay, fine.
And then so you did start out. You're getting beat 34-3 by my Georgia Bulldogs, and then y'all won a bunch of games. You beat up on a bunch of people. And then for losing to Louisville, and then some more winning, and then losing to South Carolina. But I mean, you won the ACC. You beat SMU before losing to Texas in the playoffs. So
That's right. So how many losses was that? Georgia, Louisville, South Carolina. So that's 9-3, right, Vic?
Yeah.
And then they lost a playoff game. So 10-4.
Yeah.
Yeah. With another ACC title.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Probably one of the most disappointing 10-win seasons I can remember under Dabo Swinney.
Yep.
Because I feel like they should have won at least 10 games in the regular season. And they let that Texas game get away from them early in the game. And it was just too much for them to come back from.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they could have beat Texas. Obviously, they didn't. So it was disappointing. I thought that they were a better team than 10-4. But hey, they made the playoffs. They won the ACC, which is more than what a lot of people said they were going to do.
Yep. Anyway, so now the transfer portal. Yeah. Dabo actually used the portal. Took three transfers. Did get a wide receiver, Tristan Smith, and an edge, Will Height, and a linebacker, Jeremiah Alexander.
So. That's right. So we got the wide receiver from Southern Missouri State. I think it's where he came from. Something, right? Or something like that.
Southeast Missouri State.
Yeah, we got the edge rusher. He's a great player from Purdue, and of course Alexander came from Alabama.
Yeah. And then losing. You don't really lose anyone who's that significant. So.
No, not really. This is what they say, the golden year. It's like almost every team has this, like a 2 or 3 year cycle where they have a bunch of blue chip players that are all upperclassmen that are probably leaving to go to the NFL. This is the reason that you heard Josh Pate say, if you listen to him talk about, he picked Clemson to win the national title, and that wasn't because he thinks that Clemson is the most talented team or even the best team. He's looking at the projection for the draft next year. So in his opinion, Clemson's going to have more high-round draft picks than any other team in the country because they're going to be losing a lot. So in his mind, that means they have the best chance to win the national championship this year. I don't know if I agree with that stance. I don't even like that stance, really. That to me almost sounds like a power index thing rather than a ranking or a belief. So we'll see. But they are going to be absolutely loaded this year. And of course, like you mentioned, they went out and got some great players to fill a couple of holes through the transfer portal, which is new for them.
Right. Yeah, Dabo. Dabo. Not a big fan of the transfer portal, but
yeah. Well, I don't know if he's not a big fan of it. He just felt like they don't need to use it. I mean, we can disagree or agree with him whether or not they've needed to use it in the past, but he says that that's the only reason they haven't is because they didn't need to, or they went
Right.
after somebody and didn't get them, which happened. Right. I think not this off season, but last off season, he went after two separate players, one offensive lineman, and I think I forget what the other guy was. He was a defensive back or something. Anyway, he didn't get either one of them. So,
right. So now in your 25 recruiting class, you did sign the 28th overall. Got 13 early enrollees and two more late enrollees. So it's 15
right.
players total, which seems like that's not a lot, but
well, I can tell you this: it's only early June now, and they've already got more in this class committed, a lot more than they had signed at the end of last season. So, if that tells you anything,
right? Yeah, and of course the highest rated player was Amari Adams, defensive lineman, 5-star. So
yes. That's good. We need all the 5 stars, but we're losing a lot on defensive line after this season. So probably at least 2 or 3 first-round picks.
Yeah. So is there any other incoming freshmen that you want to highlight? Or
well, on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, the biggest question mark right now for Clemson is the running back position. I mean, they're pretty well loaded. I mean, they're right up there with the Ohio States and the Texases and the Alabamas of the world as far as their wide receiver room this year, which is a big leap forward from what we saw a couple of years ago. Nobody knew even who wide receiver one was on Clemson's team. It was kind of a hodgepodge, like glued together wide receiver core. Now, fast forward a couple of years, and they have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the entire country. But to answer your question, I guess I'm most excited. If I want to pick, I guess I'm going to say Gideon Davidson. So what they did at the running back position, now that they had what's his face, go white boy, go.
you mean
Shipley, Will Shipley.
Shipley, yeah.
Shipley gone. Then Phil Maffa took the reins last year, and now Phil Maffa's gone, and we don't really know who that guy is. Now there's a bunch of opinions going around from Clemson fans about who should be RB1, or maybe it'll be a running back by committee type situation where you don't have a number one guy, but you have 2 or maybe even 3 guys who split the carries equally or something like that. But Gideon Davidson is one of the best running back prospects to come out of this last class. I mean, he could have went anywhere he wanted. He could have went to Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, whatever, Alabama. But Clemson got him. So there's a lot of expectations for him. And then they moved Adam Randall, who's been a wide receiver at Clemson, it feels like forever, I guess 2 or 3 years. It turns out he can run the ball, but he's not any good at catching it. So wide receiver probably wasn't a very good option for him. So Dabo Swinney at the end of last year, in a very bold move going into the playoffs even, moved Adam Randall to running back. So he's a big guy, but he's never played running back in college football until the Texas game of last year. Of all the games to put him in to get his feet wet, they put him in a playoff game against a top 5 team. So I don't know. The running back position is the biggest unknown, and for all I know, we might have 2 or 3 really good or even great running backs, but we just don't know right now.
All right, so now let's talk about Cade Klubnik. Yeah, really had a breakout year last year. 3,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 63.4 completion percentage. 7.5 per attempt. So,
yeah, I mean, if you compare those numbers to the year before, I don't know if you can pull that up.
Yeah, I got both of them. Here it is. 2023. It was 2,800 yards.
So almost
6.3,
800 yards more through the air,
and a 6.3 per attempt last year, which terrible, but yeah, able to get him to
15 more,
7.5. So
15 or 16 more touchdowns than the year before.
yep, three less interceptions.
3 less interceptions, and let's not even. They didn't even put fumbles on there. If you add fumbles in there, you're getting into the double digits now. From
Yes.
2023, he was a fumbling machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Anyway, so y'all were saying that 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 he's terrible, but this year he was actually really good. So
Yeah, I mean, and I think he's obviously getting better, right? I think he's more in tune with Garrett Riley's offense than he was his first year starting. But you got to remember when Cade Klubnik came in as the first year starter, that was Garrett Riley's first year as offensive coordinator too. So there was a lot going on that year. Also, they didn't really have a number one. Like I said, they didn't really have a wide receiver one. I think the best wide receiver in 2023 was a true freshman, Tyler Brown. So things have changed in the past couple of years.
yes. So anyway, so of course in the running back room, of course we already mentioned Moffa is gone. To get the freshman Gideon Davidson. You'll also have a couple. Yeah, there's you'll have Jay Haynes and Keith Adams.
Yeah, Keith Adams is actually he's been there a while. Haynes is the one that I think that the Clemson fans are most excited about as far as a returning running back. I think that he showed a lot of promise towards the end of last season. So hopefully he can. Hopefully, Davidson works out and he ends up being like the ETN type where he's the main guy, and then you have a capable guy like Haynes behind him that can carry the second load. That's what we want.
Yeah, and then Klubnik, yeah, he can run too. He was the second leading rusher on the team. He had over 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. So
that's right.
Anyway, so now looking at your wide receiver room, you do bring back almost everyone. You've got Antonio Williams and Bryant Wesco, and TJ Moore.
And like we mentioned, we're adding that transfer Tristan Smith to that
right.
lineup. So there's really 4.
Yeah,
4
Tristan
receivers.
Smith as well. Yeah, but you do lose your tight end, Jake Brenningstool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got a couple of guys, but Henry and Sapp. I don't know who. I don't know who's. That's probably going to be Sapp.
Yeah, they got Pat Henry, and Josh Sapp.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
It says that he's 6'1", 225. So that's a bit small.
It is a bit small for a tight end. You're right.
Anyway, yes, last year you did get the 18th best scoring offense with 34.7 points per game. So that's pretty good. And look at total offense as well. You had the 11th best in total offense with 452 yards per game. So I mean, those are good offensive numbers. If y'all can, keep those up, y'all will be pretty good. So. Let's see. Passing, you had the 15th passing offense, 278.5 per game.
I mean, that's not world beating or anything, but when you compare it to, like I said, the season before, which I don't even think they were in the top 50. So.
Yep, that's good. And then running, running, you're 49th in rushing, 173.4 per game. So,
and like you mentioned, a lot of that was Klubnik. So.
Right, you're right. Those mostly Klubnik and
Moffa
and Moffa.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much Maffa was getting like all the carries. He had 216 carries, whereas Jay Haynes was only getting 43, and Keith Adams only got 30. So
That's another one I forgot to mention. Izzy Ume. Of course, I
yeah,
probably every time I say his name, I butcher it even worse than I did before.
it's yeah,
But he's another one that has a lot of potential. He was a highly recruited guy coming out of high school too. So he'll be going into his sophomore year this year. He might be. I mean, he'll be in the running. I don't know. Well, I guess once fall practice kicks up, we'll get a better idea. But yeah, he'll be in the running back for RB1 too.
yes, I get it. He'll be in the running.
He'll be in the running for the running. Yes.
That's a good one. Okay, so I guess we can talk about some of your special teams, right? Is Nolan Hauser? He's coming back.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yep.
Yeah, he can kick the ball out of the stadium, Vic.
Yep. And yeah.
He can kick it out of the stadium, but sometimes he can't kick it through the uprights. That's the only real problem.
Right. Yeah. Didn't he kick the game winner against SMU?
Yeah. Well, a 60-yard field goal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, he's you might be too young, but do you remember the movie Major League with Charlie Sheen?
No.
Okay. Anyway, Charlie Sheen is a pitcher for the Cleveland Indians. And they call him the wild thing because he can throw the ball like 108 miles an hour, but of course he can't throw it over the plate.
Yeah.
So that's what Hauser is. He can kick the ball out of the stadium. He just has a hard time kicking it straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about punters next. Yes, who is your punter?
I don't know.
I see four punters on here. I guess I'll just click on one and see if he has any stats. It's not that one.
Oh, Swanson played.
It was Jack Smith, where he had 3 punts.
Yeah, 3 punts.
So it must be Aiden Swanson. Yeah, but he's played for like 6 years. So
he's like 30.
So I don't know if he still has eligibility left.
Well, these days you never know. No, I don't think he's on the team anymore.
Okay. I guess he had 41 yards. Right? So I guess it'll probably be Jack Smith then, because he was the backup last year.
Clemson's punting game has been pretty less than mediocre for the past 4 or 5 years, honestly. They've had some good field goal kickers come through there, but they I don't know what to like. You would think they could go get somebody off a soccer team that can kick the ball, can punt the ball 70 yards, but apparently not.
I know, right? Anyway, so now we can talk about the defense. Yeah, did they end up firing what's his name?
Goodwin. Yes,
Wes Goodwin. Yeah, because I know that you had been clamoring for him to be fired. So
yes, they finally listened to Peete. They should have listened to Peete 2 years ago. Actually, I take that back. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and it wasn't until like a year ago that I really, going into last season, I was already ready. I was already done with him. But anyway, they finally fired him. Dabo made the right decision. And of course, in my opinion, they made a massive upgrade. You got to understand, Goodwin was not an experienced. He had never been a coordinator before. So I mean, he was always a positions coach or whatever, and he was sort of Venable's right hand man. But he wasn't an experienced coordinator. In a place like Clemson, I mean, you can get experienced guys. So they went out and got one of the best in the business, Tom Allen out of Penn State. What was Penn State's defense total? They were top 5 defense last year, weren't they, Vic?
Yeah, they were pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So excited about the hire. Yeah.
Yes. So now last year, 42nd in scoring, 23 per game. Total. Yeah, you have to go to the
If you click on run defense, you might have to scroll for about 9 hours.
Yeah, I got it. Here it is, 69th in run defense.
Yeah.
I mean total defense, 374 yards per game.
Yeah, and most of that was on the ground.
Yes, 5.55 per play. So
yeah, I think they let an FCS team set a rushing record on them last year.
That's how bad it was. Is that the Citadel that did that?
Yeah, they ran for more yards on Clemson's defense than they did against FCS teams. That's an insane stat.
Okay. Yes. You're 85th. In rush defense.
That's actually better than I thought. I'm surprised it's in the top 100. Yeah, I thought it was outside of the top 100.
Yeah, 160.6 per game, 4.7 per carry. So.
Jeez, Lord.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah.
You know what's weird about that too?
What?
You know who Peter Woods is, defensive lineman for Clemson?
Yeah.
He had the highest run stopping grade of any defensive lineman in the Power 4 last year. But Clemson was, would you say, 85th in run defense?
Yeah.
So basically, he was the only one even attempting to stop the run. The rest of the team was just, standing around with their finger up their, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing.
Here it is in the 54th against the pass, 213.5 per game, 6.4 per attempt. All right. So anyway, of course, talk about the defense. We got Barrett Carter is gone.
Mm-hmm. He was my favorite player on the defense last year. Yeah. Woodaz is coming back.
You got Wade Woodaz, and Sammy Brown. So.
Yeah, he's the typical white linebacker that Dabo likes to go get. Sammy Brown.
Yeah. And then RJ Mickens is gone.
Yep.
But you did bring back
Barnes and Terrell both come back.
Yeah. Is he Avion Terrell? Is he AJ Terrell's brother?
He is AJ Terrell's brother. Yes, he is.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, AJ Terrell plays for the Falcons.
He does.
Yeah, and then back your other cornerback,
Lucas.
I got Jaden Lucas, and Terrell, right? So Lucas and Terrell
and Hampton.
Yeah, and Hampton. Yeah, Hampton too.
Who played well?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, look at this defensive line here. Peyton Page, TJ Parker, Peter Woods.
Yeah, TJ Parker had 11 sacks.
Yeah.
And he's back. So.
Yeah, he led the team in sacks last year, I believe.
Yep. And then there's
K Part. Here's the K Part. He can't. No, he's not back.
He
was there for like
TJ Parker.
Yeah, Parker's back.
Yeah. Turn Peter Woods.
Oh yeah, Page.
Yep, Peyton Page is gone. Yeah.
He's gone.
Yep, but you bring back Peter Woods. I guess you got DeMonte Capehart.
Yeah, I feel like he's been there since like 1990.
Yeah, well, he's been there since 2020, but yeah.
Well, it feels like longer than that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a good player, though.
Yep. Yeah. All right, so I guess the defense does bring back almost everyone. So 8 out of 11 starters. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a new defensive coordinator, Tom Allen. So
and a couple of guys who are going to be starters that weren't on the team last year. Transfers, the defensive end and Alexander.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we're ready to. I think we're ready to get into the schedule now.
Yeah, this will be easy. I can't wait to hear what you have them. How many games you have them winning?
Yep.
Because pretty much everybody I've talked to has them winning 10 games. I've heard, you got some people out there go 8-4. I'm like, okay. But here's the thing. Nobody's willing to actually bet me that they're going to lose 4 games in the regular season. They just say that on the internet. Because as soon as you say, okay, well, I'll bet you any amount of money you want, they just say, oh, well, I don't want to bet. Yeah, because you don't believe it. So, but anyway, well, I'm curious to see where you have them.
Right. Anyway, so I guess we'll start out week 1. You do play LSU.
Yes.
And now, of course, y'all did go 0-3 against SEC teams last year. LSU can't win a home opener. They haven't won a home opener since like 2019 or something, or 20 or something like that. So yes, something's got to give. But I'm still going to give you all the win though, because LSU, and Brian Kelly, just can't really trust them in, opening games against, big time competition. So
Plus the games in Clemson.
right.
Prime time game.
It's in the real Death Valley.
It's in the real Death Valley in Clemson. That's right. If this game were in LSU, I probably would give them more of a chance. But I'm with you. I'm rolling with the Tigers on this. Like you said, I don't know when the last time they won a home opener was. Maybe 5 years ago. But here's what I do know: Brian Kelly's never won a home opener as the head coach of LSU, and and a couple of those losses are teams that they should have beat, that they were better than. So, given the state of Clemson's roster this year, the hype going into the game, the fact that it's a primetime game in Clemson and not in Baton Rouge, I'm taking the Tigers, the Clemson Tigers. That is.
All right, yeah. Next up, you got Troy. Yep.
Yeah, I mean is that a trap game, Vic?
No.
Did you see who they play after that?
Yeah, they play Georgia Tech next.
Yeah.
Right,
Troy was a scary team for a power team to play like 5 years ago. Yeah. They're not so much anymore. You know what I mean?
No.
So, yeah, I mean, unless Clemson just goes out there and just completely looks past Troy, looking at the game the next week in Atlanta, then I don't see that this shouldn't be competitive.
Yeah, I think that Troy's coach moved on to a Power 5 job. So
yeah,
and then everything just fell apart. So
that's right.
Anyway, next up, you do play at Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets. You'll play the Fighting Rex and the Fighting Sea Dogs. So.
If I said I wasn't at least a little bit worried about this game, I would be lying. Now, I'm going to this game, Vic. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, our good buddies Sea Dog and Rec Talk have invited me to come to a game at Bobby Dodd, which is kind of surprising. I've never seen a game there. I've seen Georgia Tech and Clemson play in Clemson a bunch of times in person, but now I've never been to Bobby Dodd. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think they're going to be good. I think Georgia Tech's going to be one of the better teams in the ACC this year, as long as Haynes King can stay healthy. Their defense was a liability last year, so I'll be interested to see if there's any improvement on defense. I don't really think I've got any real straight answers from even Georgia Tech fans on what their expectations for the defense is, but I could see a situation if their defense is on par with what it was last year, or less than par rather. I could see Clemson putting up big numbers offensively on this Yellow Jacket defense. So, but I think this game will be competitive. But I'm giving Clemson the win there.
Yeah, I think so. I think they might give y'all a bit of a scare, but yeah, I think that y'all will come away with the win. So,
all right, we're in agreement. We're 3-0 here.
Yeah, and then next up, you do play the Syracuse Orange, and I mean, I don't know if they're gonna be as good as they were last year. They do lose like At Kyle McCord and some other people. So
Yeah, if this game were in the noise box, or as I call it, the fart box up there in Syracuse, then I might be a little bit more worried. But Syracuse doesn't have a real good record when coming to Death Valley. Also, like you mentioned, they lost their star quarterback. They went out in the portal and they got somebody from LSU, right? Ricky Collins.
Bobby.
No, Ricky Collins is his name. I don't know. He's a second or third string quarterback behind Nussmeier last year. So I don't really have any clue about him. He might be the best quarterback in the history of quarterbacks. I wouldn't know. I don't think anybody else would know either. So
Right.
That's an unknown there.
Right.
Fran Brown's second year. I don't know. I'm not as scared of Syracuse, despite what's happened in the past, as a lot of other people are.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Anyway, so we're 4-0 going into your first bye week, first one out of 2. And then next up, you do play at North Carolina. It was going to be in Chapel Hill. Of course, first year for Bill Belichick. Game day might be going there.
So I wrote down some notes, like small, tiny notes for each game here before the show. I got to UNC. What do you think I wrote down?
Win.
Shit, I wrote down shit show, Vic.
Shit show.
That's my thoughts about the state of the North Carolina Tar Heels football program. This is a complete shit show. It's going to be a disaster, and I think Clemson might win this by 5 touchdowns. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the game day is going to show up, and then they're going to have Bill Belichick on the set. Jordan Hudson is going to be the guest picker, and then they're just going to get steamrolled.
Do you think they'll put some let his girlfriend on the sideline and she can wear a headset like a coordinator and start yelling at players during the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I hope so.
Me too.
I hope so.
That'd be great. Imagine if she starts yelling at Bill Belichick because they're losing.
Okay. So now next up, you do play at Boston College.
Mm-hmm. BC always plays Clemson tough most years, and this game I believe is it's at Boston College. Luckily, it's not in November; it's in October, so it's not going to be negative 10 degrees or whatever. But yeah, I mean, look, what's this? Is this Bill O'Brien's second or third year? Second year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Bill O'Brien's second year as head coach. He lost his star quarterback, Castellanos, to Florida State. Well, actually, Florida State snatched him up. But you remember Castellanos quit on the team during the season?
Yes.
Yeah, he quit. There was still like 2 or 3 games left. He said, "No, I'm not playing anymore because you benched me for a quarter or whatever the fuck it was." So, they brought in somebody from Florida International University. I forget the guy's name. Something James, Grayson James, I think is his name.
Yep.
Yeah. So they brought in him in the transfer portal. I think he started 10 games at FIU, and his stats weren't great. I don't know. He might be like a product of just being on a bad football team at FIU, and maybe he'll do a lot better at Boston College. But his stats starting 10 games were 13 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's not very good.
Nope.
So I'm not a big believer in BC this year. I probably look for BC to have one of the worst years in the ACC that they've had in a long time, which is saying a lot. So I mean, they might be a borderline bowl team.
Well, or they might not be. We'll see.
We'll see.
But anyway, next up, you do play SMU. Now, is this going to be the same SMU that we saw last year?
I think it'll be pretty close. Yeah. Quarterback returns. Jennings. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. He's experienced. He's tough. He gave Clemson a hard time in the ACC championship game. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
I still think here's the difference. Clemson still won that game in the ACC championship.
Yes.
Let's say that SMU is as good as they were last year. I think Clemson's going to be better than they were last year. So I would have no reason to pick against Clemson, especially since this game. Like, here's one thing about the schedule that really comes out in Clemson's favor. All of their toughest games, with the exception of the Gamecocks at the end of the year, are in Clemson. So give me the Tigers in Death Valley.
Yeah, I thought about picking this one as a loss, but yeah, I got to go with Clemson. So.
It should be a good one, though. I think though, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a blowout or anything. No.
Yeah. And then your second bye week, and then after that, you've got you play Duke.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Duke. Got Manny Diaz in his second season as the Duke head coach. Any team that Manny Diaz coaches typically has a really good defense. They went out in the transfer portal and got that Tulane quarterback, who I think is very good. I think it was a good pickup for them. So I don't know. I mean, see, this game would actually worry me a little bit, but it is in Clemson. I would put Duke as one of the Duke, Virginia Tech, and maybe Louisville would be the top three biggest, like, hardest to figure out preseason teams in the ACC.
Yep. Yeah, and then didn't last time Clemson played Duke? What was it? How many times did Klubnik fumble? It was like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think 3. Well, he might. Yeah, whatever it was. The whole team was fumbling.
Yeah, that was in Klubnik's when that his first start in the ACC.
That was the home opener. That was the home opener of the 2023 season.
Yes, so I'm sure that
the opener. Yeah.
So he's going to be looking for a redemption after that game. I think he is going to remember that. So I think
to
get the win. Yeah,
I think that Duke has the chance this season to be a surprisingly good team compared to a normal Duke team.
Well, I mean they were surprisingly good last year. So,
and the year before that. Well, the year before that is when they won like 9 games or whatever. That, but so anyway, I think I still think that they have. Clemson's just way more talented still, and this game is in Clemson, so I'm taking Clemson.
Yes. Yeah, me too. So next up, we got Florida State at third home game in a row, and Florida State was terrible last year. Got to think they'll be a little bit better this year, but they shouldn't be able to even compete with y'all. So
Florida State's a hard team to figure out. They got the transfer from Boston College, Castellanos, the guy who quit on Bill O'Brien in week 9 or 10 last year. He's an upgrade over DJ, which is not really saying a whole lot because DJ is really a downgrade from virtually any Power 5 quarterback or Power 4 quarterback. But I still think that they're just the consistency is not Florida State's thing, and Castellanos is not. What's his face from a couple of years ago? The generational quarterback they had. I'm having a brain fart here. What was that guy's name?
The name
when they went 13-0.
Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis, thank you. He's no Jordan Travis. He is good. He's better than DJ, but he's sort of somewhere between DJ and Jordan Travis. So I think Florida State will have a better year, obviously, than they did last year. But I don't think they'll compete for the ACC.
All right. Next, you do play at Louisville. Is going to be a Friday night road game, and you know how I feel about Friday night road games in the ACC. So I think this is where y'all catch an L. I mean, they did beat y'all last year, so.
So yes, they did beat us last year. You do make a good point about it being a Friday night road game with most likely a higher ranked team in Clemson coming on the road. That's usually a recipe for disaster. That does worry me a little bit. It's also a nighttime game. Although Louisville, although they did win last year, I mean their record against Clemson is really bad. It was sort of an anomaly that they won last year. Although I think this is a dangerous game against what I think is probably going to be a top 25 or top 20 team at that time, I still give Clemson the edge here just based on talent.
Okay. All right. Next up, you got Furman. Yeah, you'll blow right past them. Next up, you play at South Carolina, and of course they did beat y'all last year. That was in Clemson. This time, got to go to Columbia. I mean, they have beat y'all 2 of the last 3, but both times were in Clemson.
So there's a lot going on here. First of all, for anybody who's been watching the entire video, I've picked Clemson to win every game so far leading into this game, and I don't really feel comfortable on any given year predicting 12-0. Even if I think they have a chance to, it's just not likely statistically. So unfortunately I'm picking Clemson to lose this game for a couple of reasons. Now South Carolina has not beat Clemson in their own stadium for almost 15 years. I think it was either 2012 was the last year they did, I think, or yeah, I think so. So 13 years. South Carolina's lost every time they've played in Columbia against Clemson. So that does favor Clemson. However, until Clemson can prove to me that they have an answer to stop a player like Sellers. I mean, last year, Sellers just completely embarrassed Clemson's defense. And I think it's going to be probably better this year than he was last year. I know there's some other pieces that Gamecocks fans lost or that team lost in the offseason that there's some unknowns about. But as long as he is healthy and leading that offense, I need Clemson to prove to me that they're a different defense than last year. Otherwise, he's going to run all over him again. So I'm picking South Carolina to win against Clemson this year in the final week of the regular season.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Anyway, so looks like I have 10-2 losses at Louisville and at South Carolina, and Peete has 11-1 with a loss at South Carolina.
I do also think it's 10-2 is very possible. I think anything less than 10 would be disappointing with the schedule. But of course, they could drop an ACC game. They could go 7-1 in the ACC, and then 3-1 and out of conference. I think that's very possible too. So,
right.
But yeah, 10-2 or 11-1.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yes, y'all make sure that y'all are subscribed to Pigskin Peete if you're not already. I will leave the link to the channel in the description and in the comments. So
awesome. Thank you, Vic, for having me on, buddy.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Peete. Yeah.
Go Tigers.
Yeah. Go Tigers. Anyway, yes, that will do it for me as well. So y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments below. Give us your prediction for Clemson, and thanks for watching. And I'll see y'all again next time.